Welcome, brave souls, to Be Horror, where shadows whisper secrets and nightmares come to life. Every story you're about to hear is a doorway to the unknown. Step through if you dare. Light a candle, lock your doors, and let's unravel the horrors that lurk in the dark. I remember it so vividly. I was 12 years old and had just recently moved into a new house in rural Missouri. It was a winter school night, school morning. I woke up randomly at exactly 5:23 a.m., a couple hours before my alarm clock would go off, which wasn't a normal thing for me, as I was a heavy sleeper. For a little context, I only had a twin bed and a nightstand next to it, with my alarm clock on top and an empty bookshelf across the room. Like I said, we'd just moved in, so my room was pretty empty at the time. I stared at my alarm clock for a moment, still half asleep, before I felt a weird chill up my spine and felt that someone was watching me. I then turned my head over to the end of my bed to see the silhouette of my little brother, who was about 7 years old at the time, standing at the edge of it in the darkness. My first instinct was to get angry at him. "Xander, what are you doing in my room? Get out." "Silence, Xander," I said again as I sat up in bed, but the only response I got from him was him taking a few steps closer to me. I leaned in closer, and he did as well, but very much more than I did. I then see through the moonlight that this isn't my little brother at all. It's a faceless child, inches away from my face. It didn't have hair, clothes, nothing, just white skin. It almost looked like Dear David, if you've ever heard about that story before, except without the caved-in head. The moment I realized this, I screamed as loud as I could, which seemed to startle it. My scream sent it flying backwards to the ground, and it knocked my alarm clock down in the process. It began to crawl backwards, almost spider-like, into the corner of my bookshelf and curled up on the floor, burying its head into its knees. This is the moment when my mom came and turned on the light and asked me what was wrong. When she turned on the light, it was gone. I was sobbing and shaking and told her what had happened, but she said I was only dreaming. I tried telling her that no, I was very much awake, and pointed to my alarm clock, which was face down and halfway across the room. She still insisted it was just a dream, but let me sleep in her room regardless. I didn't even enter my room for 2 weeks until my mom had forced me to. I never saw it again, but that didn't mean me and my family were ghost-free. We constantly heard things: cups sliding across the counters, bells ringing, child voices, etc. I'm 23 now, and when I look back on that memory, I know it was probably just a child spirit that was curious. And if that's the case, I truly feel bad for it, but it still traumatized the fuck out of me. I just recently talked to my mom about this. She said that actually she believed me at the time and was just as scared as I was. She just didn't want to scare me even more by validating the experience. To this very day, I try not to look for him in the dark at night. This took place a while back when I was in middle school. My best friend and I had a day off school because the power was out after a huge storm that went through the area a few days before. We decided to have a 4-day-long sleepover at my friend's house, and on the second day, her mom drove us to the local mall to hang out for the day. The mall itself was kinda shitty, and it was very cold that day. My friend and I looked around some stores and get a few things, but eventually we get bored and decide to go see a movie at the theater across the road. We walk over and go get tickets. It was a Thursday at like 2 p.m. and there was nobody else there except the people who worked there. We got 2 tickets and sat down in our seats. We realized we still had a lot of time left until the movie started because it had literally just started playing the pre-movie ads. We get up and walk around this theater. There's one door and a window at the top where the projector is. It was a reasonably small theater, and we ran up and down the aisles and took pictures. I don't have the pictures anymore because they're on my old 5s and it's broken. We explored every inch of the theater, and when the movie started, we went back to our seats. Like 10 minutes into the movie, I hear something behind us, and I look around and see a pale figure. I point it out to my friend, and she starts panicking. We know nobody came through the door because we were sitting by the aisle and that door was creaky. We turn around to look at the thing again, and it looks like more than just a figure. Its face is smooth and completely white and slightly transparent, and it looks tall, slender man looking. My friend tells me to get up and see what it is, 'cause I'm the man. But I'm like, oh hell nah. She starts texting her mom and asks for us to be picked up the moment the movie's over. We check every couple minutes to see if the thing is still there. Eventually, the movie's over and we sprint out of the theater and across the road to where her mom's car is. We tell her mom the whole story and she doesn't believe us. It was just kind of a weird experience. This true story happened to my sister. For privacy reasons, I'll call her Jane. Let me first say, the house we lived in was definitely haunted. The neighborhood was across the street from a cemetery, and strange things happened in that neighborhood. We were told our neighborhood was built on top of a portion of the cemetery. We didn't believe it until strange things started happening. One day, we all were leaving to visit our grandmother. Everyone left the house except my sister Jane. She was 21. She wasn't ready yet and said she would meet us there. When we all left, she was in the basement showering. The basement floor was made of dark gray concrete, and the shower was next to the basement stairs. It was a standalone shower. To enter the basement, you had to go through the kitchen, and there was no other basement door. The basement door had a sliding lock on the outside. In the basement, we had a pool table that was hardly used, and all the balls were in a box on the floor. Well, my sister heard the basement door lock. She heard the lock slide across the door and click. She walked up the stairs and turned the knob, and yes, the door was locked. She started banging and forcibly pushing her weight on the door and yelling, but no one responded. There was no door leading outside, so she was stuck. This was the 90s, and we didn't have a cell phone, but luckily we had a home phone in the basement. She ran back down the stairs and called our mom. By this time, we had made it to our grandmother's house. She asked my mom, was anyone still in the house because she is locked in the basement. My mom said no, and that everyone left together. She told my mom she heard the lock slide across the door. She put the phone down and ran back up the stairs and tried to open the door again, but it was still locked. Suddenly, she started hearing the sound of balls rolling across the concrete floor. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Some of the pool table balls were jumping out the box and rolling across the floor as if someone was sitting and rolling the balls back and forward to each other. She was so scared, she told my mom what was going on. My mom was religious and immediately started praying over the phone with her. As my mom was praying, my sister heard the lock slide across the door again. She dropped the phone and ran back up the stairs and turned the knob. The door opened. She ran through the house to check if anyone was there, and it was empty. All the doors and windows were locked. She grabbed the phone on the kitchen wall and told my mom she was okay, but she knew she had to go back in the basement to hang up the phone because all the phones were sharing the same line. She gathered her courage. As she walked back down the basement stairs, she noticed all the balls were back in the box, as if they were never touched. She quickly hung up the phone and ran upstairs. That's just one of the experiences of living in that haunted house. So last night, my doorbell rung, and it woke me up, and my doorbell went ding ding, which is not how the doorbell works. It does a ding, do ding dong. It's not a first time. It has happened too. So I went to check the time on my PC, and it was something like 3:42 or 4:20. I forgot. I have made posts about it before on other subreddits, and it's been happening since 2023. It used to ring it at around 1 or 12 a.m. Sometimes it also knocked, and every time we see if anyone's out there, no is we don't want to let in. If you have any ideas what could be happening, please let me know. I, 13F, was in a camp in the lower Tatras, and I was put in a room with my friends. I usually can't sleep at other places than my own room or places I've already slept. I was scrolling on my phone at around 3 a.m. and was charging it next to my friend's bed. When I was on around 70%, I pulled my phone off my charger and wept to my bed. It was the moment I saw something in the room, not in the corner, but right in front of the door. I didn't think much of it and laid down in my bed. About 2 minutes later, I looked out the window and saw a figure-like thing just being there, and I fell asleep. Like 10 seconds later, from there on, I would see the figure in front of our door every night. That's all for tonight, but the darkness never truly leaves. If this story chilled your bones, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because the next tale might be lurking just behind you. Share your thoughts in the comments and sleep with the lights on. Until next time.